And away we go. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world today. Welcome one and all to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what is going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, have a little bit of dialogue with those of you who are able to join us for the live portion. And if you are listening somewhere else and you wanted to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. That's at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on X. Whoops. Scared yourself, Miss Kitty? That bang was Miss Kitty jumping off of the printer. There she is sitting on the floor there with Granny Smith's fish. Granny Smith found her fish again. She's been very happy about that. She won't be happy that Miss Kitty's sitting that close to it, though. But back to what we were saying, since we were just before we were interrupted by cats. I do read through as many of the comments as is reasonable for the benefit of those of you who are listening and not able to see. And I'll go ahead and say hello to some of the people that are chiming in so far. I see Helter has joined us, as well as Dragon, and Donna said they haven't been on for a while. It says recovering from a small heart attack. Really? Been listening when I can. Thumbs up, everyone, like and share. I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're all right, Donna. And Cyberjack Sr. has joined us as we get ready to jump off here into the realm of the ridiculous. That is the world that we are stuck in. And really, there's nothing wrong with the world. It's the people in it that seem to cause the most problems. The people in it seem to cause the most problems. Give everybody another shot of, who's that? Miss Kitty. I almost said Granny Smith. Miss Kitty there, keeping me company at the moment. No other felines in the room. And we'll get going here. There's so much going on, and a lot of it doesn't make sense. And we'll probably start off with Biden, who seems to be trying to sabotage everything on his way out. And that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. And that's typical of just human behavior, unfortunately, that in many jobs, no matter what the job title happens to be, that you've got to be very careful about someone who is leaving, even of their own volition. Never mind being fired or laid off, if they're just outright quitting. They may steal things, they may damage things, they may screw things up on purpose, hide things, destroy things. And that seems to be the case here in the United States with the outgoing administration, that they want to sabotage everything they can get their hands on the way out, instead of hoping and helping for things to run as smoothly as possible. I mean, you're talking about affecting billions of lives, because it's not just the lives of the individuals who are living within our borders, but the decisions that the United States makes have ripple effects that go global. We're a big enough country that the things that we do affect everybody. It affects everybody. So billions of people, hundreds of millions of Americans, and millions of non-Americans who are living here as well. and then billions of people all over the world that are going to suffer because dude wants to play games. He wants to be an ass as he leaves to leave a mess for the next guy so that he can point fingers later if he's still around. And Brian has joined us, and I see Tuck is here as well. And John, he says, here for the cat news. Well, Granny's, who is it? Miss Kitty and Granny Smith just left the room, actually. But one of the things that Biden has just done is this massive series of pardons that took place. I mean, he pardoned over 1,500 people in a single day. A single day, the largest pardon in history. And he's still going. And, you know, people are sitting there like, who are these people? Who are these people? And as there's discovery for who some of these people are, it's upsetting a lot of people. And we're going to start with a New York Post article, I believe. And commuted sentences here. And it says, Biden slammed for commuting the sentence of a notorious kids for cash judge convicted of imprisoning juveniles for $2.1 million in kickbacks. well I remember this story, but it says the corrupt former Pennsylvania judge convicted of funneling juveniles to for-profit detention facilities in exchange for $2.1 million in kickbacks had his lengthy prison sentence commuted Thursday by President Biden. And a lot of the people on that list, it's turned out, have turned out to be people who were formerly in politics, like this guy, which I find very suspect. Jericho says, damn, 1,500, can I get a preemptive pardon too? No kidding. And that's the judge. Former Luzerne County Judge Michael Conahan, the jurist at the center of the so-called Kids for Cash scandal, was among 1,499 other commutations that the 82-year-old lame duck president granted in the largest presidential act of clemency on a single day in history, according to the White House. The mother of a victim of Cohen's Conahan's disturbing crimes fumed upon hearing of his commutation. Quote, I'm shocked and I am hurt, Sandy Fonzo, whose son erased himself from existence after he was locked up as part of the scheme orchestrated by Conahan and former Judge Mark Ciavarella, said in a statement. Conahan's actions destroyed families, including mine, and my son's death is a tragic reminder of the consequences of his abuse of power. This pardon feels like an injustice for all of us who will still suffer. Right now, I am processing and doing the best I can to cope with the pain that this has brought back. Conahan, 72, pleaded guilty to racketeering conspiracy charges for his role in the scheme and was sentenced to 17 and a half years in prison. He was released to home confinement in Florida during the C virus pandemic. That must be nice. Just put a box on his ankle and send him home. He was, at the time of Conahan's sentencing, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Pennsylvania described the judicial scandal as the worst in Pennsylvania history. It affected more than 2,500 children. So this guy sent 2,500, him and another judge, 2,500 innocent kids to jail, to juvenile detention, to get kickbacks, to line his pockets. This is the kind of people, because we were questioning this yesterday. These are the kind of people that apparently are on Biden's list. Tuck says, I've been telling people for quite a while Biden is a real life supervillain. No kidding. We have supervillains. We've got a Legion of Doom. Okay? There is such a thing. Legion of Doom headquarters. And Bill Gates is in there, and Biden is in there, and Nancy Pelosi is in there. These people are evil, I'm telling you. And League of Smoke has joined us. Glad you could make it. That's encourageable. That this, he gets a pass along with a bunch of others. More than 2,500 children given disproportionate sentences by Conahan and Ciavarella in order to populate private detention centers that were paying them kickbacks. Thousands of juvenile sentences were vacated by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court in the wake of the scandal. Basically, the court was forced to throw them out after these two were convicted, which is only the right thing to do, but it was too late in the case of this one woman's child who, I guess, destroyed himself because he couldn't take it. Quote, America was built on the promise of second chances, Biden said in a statement on his mass commutations. I have great privilege of extending mercy to people who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation, restoring opportunity for Americans to participate in daily life and contribute to their communities. Somehow I don't think that applies. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my my opinion. Savage Lee is here. He says, evil is so rampant these days, makes you wonder if these are the days of the end times. Yeah, when they will call good evil and evil good. Sure looks like it, doesn't it? Tuck says, I think of the police procedural TV shows did an episode based on this guy, and Biden pardons him. Yeah. Jericho says, I heard Nancy was hospitalized. I heard that too. She's overseas, right? And they had to send her to the hospital. Something happened to her. I'm not sure what, though. I'm not sure what. But can you imagine? Can you imagine being the parents of one of these more than 2,500 kids sent to detention centers just to fill those centers up? And that's the because a lot of stuff like that is privatized now. Like we discussed when I worked in mental health, many of the group home facilities now, they're all subcontracted from the state. So the state can have somebody to wave their finger at if anybody gets in trouble. And they don't have to take the hit for it. They do the same thing with juvenile detention. That's what the YRC2 basically was for the Juvenile Justice Authority when I was running that facility. It was subcontracted. It was a subcontracted facility. Kansas is full of them. And you get paid by the day for each kid that's in one of those beds. If their head's on that pillow at midnight, you get a check. Tuck says, I wonder if the leftos will hate on this child abuser judge like they hated on some CEOs. Now, this story's flying under the radar. Jericho says, yeah, she was at some meeting across the sea, just saw the title and scrolled. Yeah, I don't know what happened to her, but yeah, she was sent to the hospital. A lot of these people on Biden's list apparently are political, and it's some dirty stuff. Here's another one. Oh, there you go, John. John says Nancy was drunk dancing on the table and fell off. Is that what happened? She's too old to be working that pole. I keep telling her. We're going to jump to a Tribune News Service article. Here's another one from that commuting list. Convicted former Brooklyn Assemblyman William Boyland Jr., I remember him, is on Biden's clemency list. Oh, look at that. Wow, he looks like someone hit him in the face with a shovel. Goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry. I get distracted by the photos. And Kimberly has joined us. Glad you could make it, Kimberly. Thanks for joining us today. You might remember this guy, William Boyland Jr., a former Brooklyn assemblyman whose influential family has been dubbed the Kennedys of Brownsville, one of the 1,583 people now granted clemency by the outgoing Biden administration Thursday. Boyland Jr. was convicted on 21 bribery and corruption charges in 2014 and sentenced to 14 years in prison. But in February 2021, granted a compassionate release to home confinement on account of the C virus pandemic after serving less than half his time. Another politician they gave an ankle monitor to and sent home. So he's already sitting at home. Prosecutors who opposed his early return home said the Bureau of Prisons hadn't said whether Boyland would be required to return to a cell once the pandemic ended. Boyland conceded after his conviction that returning to elected office wasn't realistic. You think? A street, a public school, and a park in Brooklyn are named after his uncle, former state assemblyman Thomas S. Boyland. Boyland Jr. was elected to the state assembly in 2003. More than a decade later, the disgraced politician was found guilty of soliciting hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes from undercover federal agents and stealing money that was meant to help senior citizens. Get a pardon. Let him go. It's okay. It's cool. Give him a second chance. In one scheme, he shook down an undercover agent posing as a carnival promoter, getting more than $14,000 in bribes to grease the wheels for permits, licenses, and letters of support from his office. In another, he scammed the state out of more than $71,000 in travel vouchers. Travel vouchers. $71,000 in travel vouchers. Holy crap. Boylan Jr. said he intended to spend his time behind bars helping other inmates who are struggling with mental health issues. Oh, see, he's reformed. He's reformed. While incarcerated, I worked as a GED instructor and provided English as a second language instruction, he wrote. That's funny. Let me read that again. While incarcerated, I worked as a GED instructor and provided English as a second language instruction. Okay. He wrote. While under home confinement, Boylan said he had actively sought to reintegrate into society and build which included going to church, enrolling in online college programs, and working with senior citizens. Hold on. He was from home under house arrest, working with senior citizens, and convicted for what? Convicted stealing money that was meant to help senior citizens. Does anyone else see the connection there? He went to prison. The charge was soliciting bribes, misappropriating funds, and stealing money that was supposed to be going to senior citizens. But he sits here and he says that he's trying to build a stable, productive life from house arrest by going to church, enrolling in online college programs, and working with senior citizens. That's like convicting someone for stealing eggs and putting them in charge of the hen house. Tuck says this is Biden emptying the prisons like the commie dictator he is. Yeah, they're all political people, and these are the ones as discovery is made, as people are looking up this list of names, which is now public, and seeing who these people are. This is what some of them look like. They're political people from politics that got caught up running scams, stealing money, or doing other things. And they're getting the pardon. Meanwhile, you got other people who probably have legitimate claims, like through the Innocence Project, as an example. I bet you there's 10,000 names on the Innocence Project right now that he could have looked down that list I know he's not looking at anything. He could have had his interns look down that list and made some selections. That's what I would have done in his position. Bring me a spokesman from the Innocence Project. They would not even be working with anyone if the Innocence Project did not have evidence to believe that that person might be innocent, which is why they take those cases. Have a spokesman from the Innocence Project, come to me, and we'll work something out, and I'll commute 1,500 people that the Innocence Project is convinced are not guilty, that have already been languishing in prison and don't deserve it at all. No, he lets politicians go that are damn right guilty. Oh my God. Tuck says zero shame. Kimberly says lowest of the low. And Kimberly made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Kimberly. Need all the help we can get taking care of our little furry friends, even though nobody's here right now. I know that they're floating around here somewhere. Maybe I can get that fish going. Nope, the fish is dead. Fish needs a charge. I've got that fish that Granny Smith plays with, but the charge is dead in it. But thank you again, Kimberly. Savage says senior citizens are some of the most vulnerable in society. What a scumbag. And he's working with them again. Who wants to place a bet that 5 years from now, same thing. Oh God, that just offends me. That just offends me. And you know what? I mean, that right there would make me suspicious. Why are you doing this again? Why are you doing this again? It's like the bling pastor gets in trouble for the same thing again and goes back to jail again, which was identity theft. Identity theft. Meanwhile, and I know my thumbnail had Tiffany Henyard, but we're going to get to her. We're going to get to her. I have a story about her as well. Because, yeah, she just can't stay out of the news, and it's all bad. It's all bad. It's like True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. Who saw that film? And he had the truth serum, and she asked him, is it working? And he says, I don't know. Ask me a question I would normally lie to. And she said, have you ever killed anyone? And he goes, oh, sure, all the time. But don't worry, they were all bad. They were all bad. Oh, my God. And who has this article? Let me see. This is a New York Post article coming up here. And Monkey has joined us. Glad you could make it today. As people trickle in, more sabotage from the Biden administration coming right up. Because we're not done, and it's not over by a long shot. This is going to be a huge mess by the time January 20th rolls in. Biden administration quietly clears away border wall parts for auction ahead of Trump's second term. They were already selling the stuff, but now they've blown away the rest of it, basically. Biden administration is reportedly spending their final weeks quietly clearing away unused southern border wall materials, putting it up for auction, a move characterized by lawmakers, or some lawmakers, as an apparent ploy to sabotage President-elect Trump's goal to secure the U.S.-Mexican border. Alarming footage taken by a U.S. Customs and Border agent captured numerous flatbed trucks hauling away dismantled sections of the steel wall near Tucson, Arizona, a hot spot for illegal crossings, with the agent estimating a half mile's worth of parts being removed daily. They are taking it from three sections: Nogales, Tucson, and 3 Points, the agent who spoke under the condition of anonymity told the outlet. Unbelievable. The goal is to move all of it off the border before Christmas. The materials are being transported to Penal Air Park in Mana, Arizona, where it's being sold through GovPlanet, an online auction analyzing a military surplus, running at $5. Online auctions for the parts listed as steel bollard wall sections with grout already happened this month, with another scheduled for December 18th. Yeah, take the wall apart. That's just great, and sell it for next to nothing. The materials were left unused following Biden's decision to stop the wall's construction and roll back Trump's immigration policies upon taking office in 21, resulting in a massive surge of illegal immigrants and unaccompanied minors crossing the border. Up to $300 million worth of taxpayer-funded wall components have been left to rust since Biden came into office, Republicans have said, condemning the Democratic president for worsening the migrant crisis. It's being done on purpose. Now lawmakers believe this effort to sell the wall leftovers, which the Biden administration also did last August, will undermine Trump's plan to secure the border. The Biden administration is well aware they shouldn't have reversed the construction of the border wall, and that's Representative Eli Crane from Arizona. Yeah, more sabotage, because all that's going to have to be purchased again, and it's going to have to be set up again. It's going to have to be set up again. And who's going to pay for it? That's your tax money just being wasted. That's your tax money just being wasted. Sven says, put our military on the border, leave them there. Screw these bigoted Democrats. This shit hurts communities of color first and foremost. Yeah, not according to Democrats. They're protecting communities of color. Just ask them; they'll tell you. That they ran on that platform. Oh, we're trying to help black and brown people. Yeah, you don't give a crap about them. Lying bastards. Lying bastards. But this is just more sabotage. More sabotage from the Biden administration. Kimberly says, sabotage, how is this even legal? If you can get it on paper, it's legal. You get the right signature on the right piece of paper, they can make anything legal. They can make anything legal. Quoting RoboCop, don't worry, they'll fix you. They'll fix anything. Absolutely. And doesn't end there. It doesn't end there because we have more pardons, the secret pardons. The secret pardon. This is something that people need to know about. Daily Mail article coming up here. Tuck says the cost of the materials has shot up a lot since they stopped the wall construction. Replacing it will cost big. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's going to cost more. And it could have been done. It could have been finished. Now they're just making things harder on everybody. Daily Mail again. Biden gives Pfizer and Moderna immunity from being sued for vax-related injuries, which has already been done, but it's been reinforced now. He's reinforced it. He just did this. The outgoing Biden administration has quietly extended a pandemic-era measure that protects C virus vaccine makers from being sued for injuries or death. Officials at the Health and Human Services say it's necessary because there's still a credible risk the pandemic spirals out of control in the next 4 years, even though the C virus incidences and hospital administrations are declining, or hospital admissions, excuse me. I don't know if they were ever legitimate in the first place. The Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act was initially enacted in 2020, in part to encourage vax manufacturers to speed up research without fear of being held legally responsible for things like side effects. That's a load of crap. The extension, which had last been renewed in May of 2023, also protects healthcare workers in hospitals who provide shots from being sued. This move could anger the incoming Trump administration, which has nominated prominent skeptic Robert Kennedy. RFK Jr. has long carried the anti-jab flag, once claiming that the inoculations cause autism, and now heads up a movement attempting to make manufacturers more accountable for vax injury claims. This may also anger the small but growing number of Americans who say they were injured by the jab and claim they are being ignored. They are being ignored because of this immunity, and he just extended it. Figures from the national program that exists to compensate the jab injured show that there have been 13,000 claims that the C virus vaccine or other C virus treatments caused injury. 10,000 of those are awaiting review. That means that since 2020, 3,000 of those claims, only 3,000 of those claims have been reviewed. So they've been ignoring the claims, basically. So what are we going to do? People with jab injury claims specific to the C virus are covered instead by a program called Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. Through this program, people who have been injured by the C virus vaccine can apply for financial compensation without specifically holding the companies who made the jab responsible. And what do they get out of that? It doesn't say what that compensation might be. It doesn't tell you. But they've extended it again. They've extended it again. So that quietly slipped under the radar, courtesy of the current Biden administration. And I'll tell you, strokes, heart attacks, and other problems have increased since all of this started. Kimberly says whoever's signing off on this needs to be replaced. Well, that would be Biden, and he is being replaced, but not soon enough. And Brian made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Brian. He says I'm one of the best channels on YouTube. I try. I try, Brian. Thank you. And League says Biden is giving Americans the middle finger on his way out of office. All this does is demonstrate that he never cared about anybody in the first place. He doesn't care about anybody. It's not about the American people. And that's the thing. Again, people, it's human nature that most people will try to do some damage on the way out of a job. Unfortunately, that's just human nature. People are vindictive and nasty. Okay? But what he's doing affects so many people, and it just doesn't seem to matter. It just doesn't seem to matter. He's going to do as much damage as possible to make it hard for the next guy, rather than passing the torch. Hey, man, I tried to clean this up as good as I could. And it falls back to my biblical beliefs on just being a good steward, because you've probably read the stories about the being a good steward, and it uses money as an example in the story in the New Testament. But it's not just about money. It's about everything that you have. Everything that you do, you should be a good steward of. If you have a home, when you leave that home, is it in as good of a condition as when you found it, or even better, or is it a disaster? When you leave your job, did you leave it how you found it, or maybe better, or did you ruin it? This guy is not being a good steward of his position in the presidency. He's done a lot of damage, and now he's doing his additional damage as much as possible on his way out. And pooping while standing says, it's insane how the C virus completely changed our society and mistrust of the FDA, NIH, medical establishment, and government. People didn't trust them, but they still did everything they were told. That's the sad part. Tuck says, I never have unless you count quitting without notice. Kimberly says blood clots are common with the jab. People who passed away with non-previous diagnosis of blood clot disorders were found to have serious clotting. Yeah, I've heard that as well. It's a problem. Any of these are a problem. Any of these drugs are a problem. But, here we are. And they got to pass again. They're not going to be held accountable. Must be nice. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Thanks, Biden. Thanks for destroying as much as you could on your way out. Shows us who you really were. It's too bad it took this long for people to realize it. Because, whether you believe that some injustice was done during the voting process or not, there are still people who voted for this person. And there are still people who voted for his successor, that being Harris, that are very upset that she lost. Very upset that Harris lost. They can't take it. I talked about that earlier this week because of a conversation that my wife had with someone over the weekend. Disowning family members. A professor at, I forget if they said it was a college or a university, teaches communications, upset with his students. I tried to warn them, and too many of them still voted for Trump anyway. Have you learned nothing? Have you learned nothing? Tuck says they're already prone to clots, which is why they gave the needle a no early on. I don't blame you. But yeah, I'm really big on that. I'm hung up on the concept of trying to be a good steward. Speaking of which, we'll look at a bad steward. Fox News article. Tiffany Henyard, defiant after losing her nomination, claims voter suppression and says that right to vote was hijacked. There she is. Hi, Tiffany. You look terrible. Drawn on eyebrows. Quote, super Mayor Henyard is planning to fight back after losing the Democratic nomination for Thornton Township Supervisor, a position she currently holds. Henyard did not qualify for the December 3rd caucus because she did not have a certified assessor on her ticket, a requirement for all nominees. Nobody wants to work with her. She objected to the proceedings that night and claimed it was voter suppression in an interview Thursday. On Saturday, she revealed during a rally she plans to file a lawsuit against Illinois State Senator Napoleon Harris, the committeeman of the Democratic Party who chose to have a caucus instead of the typical primary election and won the nomination. Quote, "What happened to us on December 3rd was short of fairness," according to Henyard. "We didn't have our opportunity to be heard. You didn't meet the requirements, and your own party is sick of you. On December 3rd, your right to vote was hijacked by your committeeman, Senator Napoleon Harris. Put some respect on my name because I am loved throughout Thornton Township," she told supporters, according to Fox. "That's why I keep going. That's why I have never, ever gave up." Henyard called for justice for voters' rights, which she said were taken away by the caucus. She insisted the process was rigged against her by claiming her supporters were not allowed in the room during the caucus. Hundreds of eligible voters, including senators, local mayors, local aldermen, local state senators, and state representatives, were locked out of the venue and forced to stand in freezing temperatures, unable to access the voting process in a timely and fair manner, she alleges. Really? Seniors, okay, local mayors, local aldermen, state senators, and state representatives were locked out of the building, and we haven't heard from any of them. If a senator or a representative especially was locked out of a building, we damn well would have heard about it, don't you think? Don't you think, Tiffany? What do you think, guys? Do you think we would have heard about that by now? Oh my God. Tuck says the professor doesn't believe in inheritance, so what's he going to do? Cut family members out of his will? They were never in the will. There you go. Yeah, I talked about that at length. When? Monday? Because that just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me how far we took that. And it's like, you know what? And you're a professor and you're teaching communications, go to the school and do your damn job. Politics is not it. Politics is not it. While Standing said 70% of the those hospitalized during the C virus had more than 4 comorbidities per the CDC. I work in population health for a Fortune 500 or Fortune 50 company, and let me tell you, that is one sick individual. Monkey says, I know you said this streams ago, but most of the time, 95% of the time, corrupt people tend to be Democrats. Yeah, it's funny how that works, isn't it? And I can let you hear it in her own words here. I can try. Let's see.
Hey guys, come on in. Come on in. It's your favorite.
Oh, see? And then they're going to drop an ad on me that quick? You're kidding. I hate the internet. It didn't used to be this hard.
7,800 the people. I will be seeking arrest for individuals involved. I will be pressing charges. It's a lot. And that's just me for you a little bit. Because all this point the finger to Tiffany or allow me, I'm over it. Now it's time for me to speak. As I say, truth speaks.
Truth speaks. All she does is talk. And she sounds so snide and so poorly educated, you know. And you can sound like have an accent that sounds like that and actually be pretty smart, but I'm not feeling it from her. She sounds really ignorant, really trashy. Bryce says that Gavin Newsom, the next president in 2028, ugh, they don't like him in California. I don't know how he keeps getting elected. Monkey says, I remember she had a stream where she was doing a money giveaway, aka taxpayer money. Wow. And Jericho says, cannot stand advertisements. I usually scream at my phone. I don't care. We're flooded with them now. We can't get away with it. Or away from it, I should say. We can't get away from it. I remember, who was it? Was it FDR's wife? Franklin Delano Roosevelt's wife? She petitioned against billboards because she thought that was too much advertising in your face. It's everywhere. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. This woman's out of her mind. This is what a diversity hire looks like. Here, let me blow that up for you. There's your diversity hire. I hope that Dalton is happy. They said, oh yeah, she's a black woman. We're so progressive. Look at us. Look at us. Yeah, look at you now. Look at you now. You hired Miss Ghetto Fabulous, who has ruined your community, has you all fighting with each other, vetoes everything you do, is stealing your funds, unofficially, because I know that was investigated, and I know also the FBI is investigating her. Incredible. Jericho says it's the same shit with mail and all the coupons. It's basically paper commercials. It's everywhere. It says you get more ads on paper than actual mail. Yeah, well, email is partially responsible for that. People don't write letters anymore. People don't send cards anymore. Most people opt out of mail-in billing. They don't get the bill in the mail anymore. While Standing says there was a lefty journalist who wrote a book about how he thought the left gave more to charities than conservatives. He was shocked to discover the opposite was true, kind of like the experience of Nora Vincent when she lived the life of a man and realized how bad they have it. League says she looks like Lil Wayne as a woman. Oh, God. Really? She needs some facial tattoos. She needs some really bad facial tattoos that were done with pencils and toothpaste. She's not an attractive woman, but she sounds awful. She looks awful, and she's hurting that community. But that's what a diversity hire will get you. She was unqualified for the job, and she's destroyed that community. That community will never be the same. And they may never fully financially recover. Remember, they were, I believe, the township was $5 million in the black, and now it's as much as that in the red. They're in debt. She did that. She did that and is as of yet to be held accountable for it. As of yet to be held accountable. It's incredible. Now, this I thought was interesting. Coming up here, there is a fundraiser for Luigi Mangione. He has a fundraiser. He has like a GoFundMe going for support to help him out for being a political prisoner. Political prisoner. Seriously, that's what they're calling this guy. And Lunatic Fringe says that Beastly needs jail time. Or Beastie. Beastly was actually No Heart's henchman from the Care Bears. That's what I thought you were saying at first, Beastly. I read it wrong. It's Beastie. Yeah, she needs jail time. We'll see what happens. But hey, maybe Biden will pardon her too. Another preemptive pardon, which again, I've never heard of such a thing. I didn't know you could do that. Latin Times article. Support for Luigi Mangione's legal fund surges as Christian-based platform boasts almost $50,000 in donations for a political prisoner. Didn't he just assassinate somebody because he lost his marbles? If that narrative's even correct, isn't that what happened? I thought that's what happened. Did I miss something? Support for Luigi, described by supporters as a political prisoner, has surged on the Christian-based platform Give, Send, Go, which has raised nearly $50,000 for his legal defense. Good Lord. Maybe I should go there and ask for help for my for my shelter cats. I'm still taking care of 18. It says the fundraising page was still active as of Thursday at 2 p.m. This is a preemptive legal fundraiser, the page states, for the suspect allegedly involved in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO. We are not here to celebrate violence, but we do believe in the constitutional right of fair legal representation. To be fair, though, if he gets a court-appointed attorney, he's as good as dead. Also, keep in mind, ultimately, Luigi, he comes from a wealthy family, a wealthy, affluent family. They have money, which makes me still not understand how all this went down, because they're claiming, oh, well, he has back pain or whatever, or something happened to his back. They can afford it. What's the problem? I don't know. Mangione faces murder charges related to the December 4th killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Thompson, a father of two, was walking to a meeting with investors when he was shot in Manhattan. Some people have reacted to the killing by venting their frustrations regarding the healthcare system. The fundraiser's goal is $200,000. I want a fundraiser to get $200,000. Shoot. I'll have all the cat litter and food I'll ever need. Organizers have also sent Mangione a letter, which can be found on the site. The letter backhandedly refers to Mangione as a, quote, political prisoner, and includes several comments from anonymous donors. And I'm not going to read the comments because there's no point. It gives you some bullets. That's what these bullets are. Comments from the platform. It says other platforms have struggled with fundraisers for Luigi, notably GoFundMe, because GoFundMe has repeatedly taken down pages dedicated to Mangione's defense. But Give, Send, Go is allowing it, apparently. Give, Send, Go is allowing it. Lunatic says cops are calling the public for donations to pay that reward. Are they? It's not even $10,000. If I remember correctly, the reward was up to $10,000. Up to $10,000, which there is a fund for that, for when like the FBI puts up a reward. So that shouldn't even happen. Frankie says, I wouldn't be surprised if Biden pardons himself to save his behind from Trump's administration. Well, he's too senile to go to jail. And While Standing said, sad state of women who are gushing over Luigi, much like women who swooned over Ted Bundy. Western women are lost. Not just in the United States. The Western world is lost almost. Lunatic said Granny just left $30 million to the family. The Mangione family? Lunatic says $60,000 reward. The signage that I saw said $10,000, up to $10,000. Did they change it? Maybe they changed it and I didn't see it. But that's incredible what people, and then you got legitimate stuff and can't even meet your goals. You got legitimate fundraisers out there and cannot even meet the goals. A lot of people. And I've done GoFundMes. I've done GoFundMes for our shelter cats. I just had one recently for the TNVR services that I had to do for 11 of them. I still haven't caught Wolf. Well, I could probably get him, but the service provider hasn't gotten back in touch with me yet. Tuck says he was worth $40 million. His family could easily scrape up 60,000, right? Yeah, they could. Whatever is wrong with his back, it's got nothing to do with not being able to get health care insurance. He don't even need it. And While Standing says they're going to move to Southeast Asia to escape the insanity. Well, if you do, I hope that works out. I hope that works out. Not all of us have the opportunity to, or the resources to do something like that. Speaking of support, it's funny to watch all these people jumping ship where Trump is concerned, because While Standing also goes on to say, despite Trump winning, all of these people who have flipped now, you remember, and there's a Newsweek article coming up here, you remember Bernie Sanders getting in bed with it now. Oh, well, some of Trump's ideas are actually pretty good. I can get behind that. And you're hearing this from these politicians now. They're knuckling under. They're knuckling under. Zuckerberg included. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is donating $1 million to Trump and sparks anger. Facebook owner Meta has donated $1 million to Trump's presidential inauguration committee, sparking anger from some liberal and conservative commentators online, along with some support. The donation was first reported Wednesday by the Wall Street Journal and confirmed to the publication by Meta, which billionaire Mark Zuckerberg runs. In November, Trump dined with Zuckerberg at his Mar-a-Lago resort. Dining with the Meta boss also met with Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who the incoming president nominated as the Secretary of State. Over the past few years, Zuckerberg has had a tempestuous relationship with Trump and his broader MAGA movement, with which this donation could be interpreted or intended to help mend. No, what happened was Zuckerberg saw the direction that the wind is now blowing in and decided to get on board with that. That's all this is. And putting his money where his mouth is, as the case may be, instead of just saying that, oh, well, you know, Trump's not so bad after all, like Bernie Sanders again. Now he's going to Mar-a-Lago to meet with the president, making donations, trying to be cool with Trump after he's been bad-mouthing him for years. What a piece of crap. Oh, my God. Lunatic Fringe says they're excited to see what Trump does to fix the nation. And Tuck says that's funny, Zuckerberg trolling. Yep. Kimberly says, yeah, a lot of the previous anti-Trumpers are kissing his butt now. That's right. They are. Zuckerberg included, throwing money that way. And it's funny to see that. It's funny to see that. And what that tells me is that they never believed in what they were talking about in the first place. At least stick by your convictions. Stand on your word. Stand on your laurels. Have courage. Gird your loins. Wow. Lieutenant Commander Data here. Is this how humans laugh? Is this how humans eat? He makes me think of V. I expect somebody to like scratch his face and peel rubber off of it. He's not the only one. You know who else just made a huge donation? Who knows? Who knows who else made a huge donation? You'll love this. And this is a USA Today article coming up here. Who else has money to burn? Amazon donating $1 million to Trump's inauguration, airing ceremony on Prime Video. That's right. All right. Amazon is donating $1 million to President-elect Trump's inaugural fund, and the company will air the event on Prime Video service, an Amazon spokesman said Thursday. Thank you, Bezos. Thanks for that. The Prime Video represents an in-kind donation worth another $1 million, the spokesman said. The donations were reported by the Wall Street Journal. Amazon joins another tech giant, Meta Platforms, in donating to the January 20th inauguration. Meta will also give $1 million. We just read that. Jeff Bezos, Amazon founder and executive chairman, will meet with Trump next week, the president-elect said on Thursday. Trump has criticized the coverage of his first term as a president by the Washington Post, which is owned by Bezos. The Post decided not to endorse a candidate in November. The decision blocked an endorsement of Democratic candidate Kamala Harris, according to National Public Radio. Also, Bill Gates. Bill Gates, I don't think he's made a donation, but he has also put it out there, because we read the article a couple of weeks ago. I'd be perfectly willing to work with Trump now. I bet. While Standing says, if you believe politics is downstream of culture, it doesn't matter who's president. Our culture is screwed in the West. Pendulum is swinging the other way, but for how long? Yeah, it remains to be seen, because it doesn't take much to screw it up. We've seen plenty of evidence of that. So there's Bezos on board, and Amazon is about as woke as it gets. I mean, ask anybody who was a fan of Lord of the Rings. Take a look at that trash that they're cranking out now. $1 billion, $1 billion a season on that awful show. That awful woke, just disgrace to Tolkien. Everything that they do on that show is a disgrace to Tolkien. And then there's stupid commercials. I hate the commercials with the deaf people, especially. Oh my God. Because for some reason, Amazon just loves showcasing this. For some reason, they have deaf people working for them. If that's even true, I can't imagine an actual legitimately legally deaf person working in a factory. It would be too dangerous. Or not, well, it's not a factory, it's a warehouse, but when you've got like 70 miles of conveyor belts and forklifts running around and robots and stuff, it's too hostile of an environment for someone who cannot hear. I don't believe they're working in there. Second, it's commercials, it's actors anyways. And I've pointed out before, I took 2 semesters of deaf culture in college. They get free insurance anyways. If they're legally deaf, they don't pay for anything. So what do they need insurance from Amazon for? Oh, I love the fact that Amazon gave me health insurance the first day. You don't need it. Or maybe someone should tell the advertising company that does these commercials for Amazon that doesn't quite jive. Kimberly says it makes me wonder what they're afraid of. Well, I don't know if it's even so much an issue of them being afraid as having been phonies the whole time anyways, and seeing the direction that things are shifting in and wanting to be on the right side of it. You know how everybody's always concerned about being on the, quote, right side of history. And there is no right side. There is no right side. You just do you. You just do you. Unbelievable, these people. Unbelievable how far that's all gone. And now you got them all lining up to kiss his ass. And that's funny, because they used to line up to kiss his ass before he ran for president. And then when they were told not to like him, they didn't. And they all talked bad about him, even people that used to suck up to him and crawl around on their knees. Oh, Mr. Trump, oh, please, talking bad on him. And now here it comes again. except for Rosie O'Donnell. I'll give her credit. Rosie O'Donnell never liked Trump. Going all the way back to the 80s, she didn't like him. Oh, League has a point. He says they don't want the Epstein list to come out. Yeah. And Bryce says, I don't care about the issues. I'll vote for Gavin Newsom for president because he has a nice smile and cool hair. I see. Is there some sarcasm in there? Anyways, watch it turn out he's got a toupee like Sam Malone on Cheers. Anyways, with that, we are at the top of the hour, so I will go ahead and start signing off. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me on Fistful of Radio. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. Special thanks to Kimberly and to Brian for making donations to the channel today. Any and all help is appreciated. It goes to taking care of our shelter cats. So with that, again, thank you everyone else who was able to join us. Hope you got something out of the conversation. And we will catch you